Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Underground Podcast. I am your host, The Baddest, and today we got a very special guest. They are a rave and hardcore producer and vocalist that fuses genres like digital hardcore, 90s rave, and modern techno and EDM. They have 3 albums under their belt as of now, but also a few EPs, including the very popular How Are We Feeling Today and last year's Tummy Ache. Everyone, please introduce Ziad of Kaizo Slumber.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Of course, I'm really happy to get the chance to talk to you. Again, I've been a listener for a little while now, so I'm excited to talk to you. We're going to ask some questions, and it'll be a fun old time.
All right,
um,
yeah, I'm ready.
Before I ask you any questions that I have written down, is there anything you want the audience to know about you, whether that be where you're from, preferred pronouns, age, anything like that, any basic information?
Yeah, I mean, I am. I've been making music since I was 13. I'm currently 22. Some people might know me before as Ace Tantina. That was like my alias before, and I sort of started off doing like chiptune music, then got into vaporwave and ambient techno and footwork. And then yeah, I started the new project Kaizo Slumber, and that's sort of what I've been doing ever since.
All right, cool. Well, you touched on it there, but my first question I ask every guest that we have on here is how did you first get into making music and what were some of your biggest inspirations?
I pretty much started with downloading FL Studio when I was 11, and then just sort of plunking around with it. Like my main inspiration, especially at that age, was like the Warp Records sort of sound. It's like Aphex Twin, Square Pusher, Autiker. Those were like my most favorite. That was like the peak of music to me. It still kind of is, but yeah, I mean, I got started just sort of playing around with FL Studio, and what initially inspired me to start with FL Studio was I'm not sure if you know the YouTuber Frank Jav C.
I'm
He
not
did like
familiar.
some like I mean in those days he was doing like sort of funny YouTube tutorials about how to make specific niche genres of electronic music. That's what really got me into like trying it out and using FL Studio. And then I actually started releasing music around the age of 13, like I said before. Uh, I'd released an album called Pixel Array, which is it's somewhere unlisted on YouTube. It's not very good, but you know that's just how it is. You start off making dog shit, and then you just sort of get to a point where you make something okay and listenable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. And that's something to take away is whatever you first start doing, it might not sound the best, but if you just keep going at it, eventually it'll start sounding
Yeah,
good.
if you are just starting, it will be terrible, but that's okay, guaranteed.
Yeah. Um. Okay. Cool. I'll have to check out. What was the YouTuber's name again?
Frank Jeff C.
Okay, I'll definitely look into that. Um. All right. Moving on. Uh. In your older music, and by older I don't mean when you were 13, but more so like 3+ years ago, your sound was much more calm and ambient than it is now, whereas over time your sound got more harsh and aggressive. I'm wondering what was the motivation and inspiration behind creating such a distinctly chaotic sound?
That's a mix of things. For one, it's just better technical competence. I think in a lot of my music, I like to have controlled chaos, and I've gotten better at doing that as I've made more music. So it's a matter of I'm able to mix my music louder without it completely being drowned out or sounding terrible. And I think because like from the beginning with Kaizo Slumber, like from the beginning of Kaizo Slumber, um, it's just the vision for the project has changed. Like at the start, it was very much like a new rave inspired thing where I was just trying to replicate the sort of ambient jungle sound of like a very specific era of '90s video games. But then, this was also around the same time like the hardcore breaks explosion, as I'd like to dub it, sort of became a thing with like artists like Sewer Slut, and then
Yeah.
a couple other artists like that. And then that sort of became a very played out, oversaturated sound. I mean, I'm quite indebted to it. It's what sort of got me the traction that I had to begin with. But it's about taking the idea of Kaizo Slumber, which in essence is just you know slightly glitzy, glammy synths and stuff played against harsh beats. That's the pure essence of Kaizo Slumber. Just taking it to a new direction. And and even to this day, like with the new project that I'm working on, I'm trying to do something a little different than what I was doing last time. Just taking that iterative approach.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Um, yeah, and I gotta say, that aggressive, well, like breakcore sound is definitely what drew me to your music when I first heard it. Again, I was introduced to your music through the album. How Are We Feeling Today? And yeah, definitely the harsh and aggressive sound is what caught my attention. Um, a question I like to ask different musicians, because I'm just always curious about the creative process, is what is the process of making a song like for you from start to finish? What do you start with? How does it usually end? How do you know you're done with a song? What is that process like for you?
For me, it just kind of starts how a lot of people started with. Although I usually start with like a riff or a synth, just something that sounds just catchy. Especially when I was doing more sample-based stuff, it'd be revolved around a specific sample or how I would mangle that, and then just sort of build on that with drums, work on the intro, and then pad out, have something for an outro, and then just kind of go from there. I, I'm I sort of know when a song is done. I just sort of know intuitively. A lot of people have the habit of a lot of producers that I know have the habit of just constantly tweaking a song, and that's a good thing about being an album artist is that you sort of realize, oh shit, I have to make other songs too. So I just know if the structure's there, if it sounds decent, it's good enough. And then if I'll start writing lyrics for it and stuff, and then if there needs to be changes, and there inevitably will because you're now mixing vocals in, I'll usually get that done then, and even afterwards there'll be some tweaking, but it's very like minor sort of edits, and then I just go with it and then just move on.
Yeah, fair enough. I've heard from other producers for sure, and I've just seen it as a music fan how like it's so easy to get stuck in the perfectionism cycle where you just keep noticing little things that you want to tweak or change, and just constantly going back to it. So yeah,
Yeah, you just
it's
gotta ship it.
yeah, it can be a blessing and a curse for sure. Um, it's I think it's probably better to not have that though. So I get what you're saying. All right, now getting into your discography, you released Kaizo Slumber's debut album, The Kaizo Manifesto, in 2022. What was the process of putting that album together like back then?
So I mean, the Kaizo Manifesto, it's a sort of concept album. Well, like I envisioned it as a concept album that was about like the warring factions of technology and nature of battling against each other in like a cartoonish Gundam sort of way.
Mm-hmm.
So I sort of had that idea, and that made it a lot easier to like write tracks for it because I was also listening to a lot of like that sort of old school rave, but when I was making that album, and yeah, it pretty much just happened very organically. Like the order of the track list was basically the order I wrote all the songs in. Maybe like a few changes here and there. And yeah, I just sort of wrote one song after the other. If there was like a certain idea I wanted to convey, I'd sort of lean into one genre over the other. Um, and I basically just made it during the last year of like high school. So just whenever I mean, not that I'm thinking about it, it was like, if I remember correctly, that was I released in January of 2022, and it was I mostly started writing it. I want to say February, March of 2021. So that was like around the time I would have had like exam season. So yeah, when I wasn't studying, I would just work on tracks and stuff like that. And then once that was over, I just polished everything up and then had it ready. Although I think I had it done way earlier, and by then I'd actually had gotten started on what would now be how are we feeling today. Yeah, I mean that's just how like quickly it just sort of came to me that I don't even remember what most of the process was. It just sort of happened, and that's the Kaizo Manifesto.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't blame you for not being able to remember it exactly. Um, well, now that it's been a few years, how do you feel about that album looking back on it? Has your opinion on it changed over time? Are there things you would have done different? Are you content with it as it is? How do you feel about it?
I'm content with how it is. I think by the very nature of the project, it's going to take on different forms. So I'm not upset that it wasn't like hard enough or it wasn't like it didn't sound this particular way. It made sense at the time for where I was personally. I was like I said, I was finishing high school, so it's like I was very optimistic in my personal life. Now that I'm done, I've graduated uni. Adult malaise has taken over, and I've become much more cynical. So now Kaizo Slumber is going to sound very different than what the Kaizo Manifesto was, and I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And I listened to the Kaizo Manifesto plenty when piecing together this interview, and I definitely think it holds up perfectly well.
Oh, I'm glad
Um,
to hear.
and now moving on to what is probably your most successful project to date is your sophomore album. How are we feeling today? Can you explain, kind of like you did briefly there with the Kaizo Manifesto, what that album is about, what the themes are, and what it is trying to say? Because that's something I've put a lot of thought into since first discovering your work.
Yeah, how are we feeling today was just a lot more sporadic. I wanted to make like a cyber grind album, like my version of a cyber grind album. Super short songs. I had just one sort of musical idea, just run with it, go full throttle. There wasn't really a singular concept to the album. It was just a lot of different things. That year, I was supposed to start university, but because of certain issues with like travel and my own finances, I had to defer a year. So I basically just spent a year in Tripoli, in Libya, where my hometown is. And, I just got really bored. I got kind of pissy about life in general. A few songs are about, well, one song in particular, Gross Technique, is basically about the sort of militias we have here in Tripoli
Okay.
and their sort of attitude. And, it's just about things that came to my head at the time. Like Rubens Waltz was written after my friend from high school. He after like his heroin addiction sort of caught up to him, and he got into a really bad state in his life that he attempted suicide, and he went to rehab. Um, and yeah, there's just a lot of different things, just whatever ideas, sort of in the same way that Kaizo Manifesto was written. I just had like songs after the other, written in that order of the track list. Yeah, that's essentially what happened with How Are We Feeling Today, but it was a lot more scattered, pretty much on purpose. There was no singular concept. If I wanted to make something funny, I just made something funny. If I wanted to write something a little bit more dark, a little bit more confessional, that's just what I did, and I just laid it out.
Interesting. That's some pretty heavy stuff. Um, yeah, okay. I can definitely hear that in the just trying to based on my own interpretation of different lyrics and sounds on the album. I can definitely tell, or it makes sense to hear that there's not meant to be like one coherent theme throughout, and that it's like different songs mean different things.
Yeah. That's a little bit to the album's detriment because that is a sort of criticism I've heard is like the songs are really short. So you go from one song that's like me farting and pissing everywhere to me being sad, and then to me farting and pissing everywhere again. But yeah, I guess that's just how my life. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, hey, as long as you're being authentic to you, that's just what it is. It's just how
Yeah,
it ends up. I still think it's a great project. So, um,
I appreciate it.
how do you feel about that album as well? I'm gonna ask you the same question again. How do you feel about it, and also how do you feel about it like within your discography? Again, it's probably your most successful full length project, and it was received well on sites like Album of the Year. How do you feel about the response to that album, and how do you feel about it yourself?
I mean, I was really happy with the response. I'm really glad people enjoyed it as much as they did because I was sort of worried they wouldn't, especially after the Kaizo Manifesto. It is quite the detour. It's a lot grimier. It's a lot just a lot more crazy and chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as metered of an experience as Kaizo Manifesto was, and in a lot of ways, maybe some songs I would have taken a different direction from, but like I said with the Kaizo Manifesto, it made sense at the time. It's like a snapshot of where I was then. You know, that's just how it is. So I'm happy and content with where it was then.
All right, nice. Getting into your most recent LP, Tummy Ache. What was making that album like, and what was different about it than other projects? Now that you had more experience under your belt, you had a couple LPs already out, um, and I would say Tummy Ache ended up being your, in my opinion, it ended up being your best and rivaling the other ones. What was different about making that one than the others?
That's the thing with tummy ache. Now that I'm sort of looking back on it, it's been a year since that was released. It was just I was still in uni, so I was just a lot busier. I didn't have as much time to like work on it, and I don't know. That's an album I maybe in hindsight don't like as much, despite you saying that. And I've heard some people really do enjoy it, and I think that's great. But I don't know. It's not my most concentrated work. I'd say I just sort of had different tracks written out during like the span of time between like Kaizo Slumber, Found Dead in Miami, and this particular album. So because I didn't have as much of like concurrent time between like writing tracks, it's like I wasn't as consistently writing as much as I was for the other two albums. So it just sort of it fell flat on that aspect. And I don't know if I were to go back and do that album again, I'd probably do more vocal takes because at the time I didn't have a microphone set up, so I literally had to pay for studio time to get vocals down. And you know, I did not have any money, so it's like, fuck it. We just do things one take, just get them done, fix them in post. And you know, in hindsight, uh, you know, maybe just getting an XLR mic and recording it in someone's like basement would have been better. Then I wouldn't have had to worry about time constraints.
Huh. That's pretty surprising for me to hear, honestly. Um, but yeah, I get what you're saying, and I mean, again, I personally think the album turned out great. But if you're not as satisfied with it, there's always the next one. There's always future work to
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, going back to the point of like being like a perfectionist over your own work, there's no point because there's always the next one.
yeah, yeah. I think that's fair. Um, so I'm assuming the answer is just that there isn't one based on what you said about the process of making tummy ache. But does tummy ache have like a coherent theme throughout it, or is it also just like um, different songs mean different things and they're just a collection as an album?
It's a different song meaning different things, and that's sort of my that was my transitionary period where I was saying before, like not dealing with adult malaise. It's now tummy ache was the transition between teenage angst and adult malaise, and it's sort of awkward in that way, and that's why I don't like it as much. But I'm glad you enjoyed. I'm glad because like I have gotten really good feedback on it. So if you do enjoy it, that's fantastic.
Hmm. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I can see why it coming from that part of your that time of your life. I can see why maybe it doesn't feel the best, or why you would be a little more critical of it. Um,
Yeah, I've just sort of grown past it. So and I've grown past it very quickly in such a short span of time. It is what it is.
yeah, I hear you. Um, so we got into it a little bit with how are we feeling today, but although you're a small artist, you found success in your work, garnering millions of streams at this point and earning positive reviews on sites like Album of the Year. What has it been like seeing the positive response to your music? What has that experience been like for you, putting that out into the world and getting such positive feedback on it?
It is a little surreal, to be honest, because even before I was making music, I've just been like posting shit on the internet for years, probably longer than I really should be. Like I was doing YouTube videos as a kid, and the thing I've been used to for a good chunk of my life has been like you get 10 views on your shitty little video or a shitty little song, and then that's it. You get like a comment from one of your friends, and that's all hunky dory. So yeah, it's just been really cool seeing getting sort of positive feedback and people who are really invested in the music. I think the real oh shit moment for me was someone getting a stick and poke tattoo of Tori Moti. I was like, okay, at least we okay. It started off like, all right, well, stick and pokes are like sort of temporary, and then I saw this one guy get "How are we feeling today?" tattooed on the back of his calf, like a full on tattoo, and I'm like, okay,
That's
now
pretty
now
crazy.
we're really in it. That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, that must feel crazy to put out like art into the world and
That
then see
is
people
that
tattooing it
is
to their
on
body.
that is on a man's or someone's skin permanently, fully for the rest of their life. They've used the real estate on their skin to hold Kaizo Slumber, and that's crazy.
Yeah, that's really cool though. Um, yeah, that's so cool. And, I just speaking from my own experience. I I've found some success making YouTube videos and stuff, and it is cool to see people connect with the art that you do. But honestly, I think it's entirely different when you're a musician, and you just put so much of your own heart into your work and so much of your own personality and being. Um, so yeah, I get what you mean when it's surreal. I think yeah, I'm just saying I know what you mean. Um, Fun question I have for you. Is there a song of yours that stands out to you as being your best?
Uh, I think Ruben's Waltz. I think that's my best work.
Yeah?
I need to do more like post-hardcore shit like that. It's so yeah, I'm not good at writing guitar riffs. Like all the guitar in my music is like MIDI. It's like really manicured MIDI that's supposed to sound as like real as possible, but like not really. But that was very the riff for that was completely serendipitous. It wasn't even originally a post-hardcore riff. Like I originally wrote it as like a little MIDI ballad. It's like there's a SoundCloud link of it, but I had uploaded like the original version of what Ruben's Waltz sounded like. It's like this slow, meandering like MIDI song that I wrote. So it just kind of it just sort of worked out in how it sounded.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, as again as a listener, I would definitely say that's one of your best. I also there's other songs off that same record I would say are up there for me, like Gengar Ecstasy. Um but yeah, that's definitely up there in my books.
Gengar It was very that was a fun one because I think that was the first song I recorded lyrics for. I literally did it in my grandma's house, and I did it in like a little closet. I mean, the most fun part of that for me was just making like the kick drum on the drop. Like that was some like dude, it just nearly fried my laptop trying to just play that specific part. It's only the kick drum, or like maybe the kick drum with like a clap on top of it. But it was just so much like post processing done to it that it completely fried my laptop just trying to play it back.
That's cool. Yeah, that's yeah, those are both great tracks in my opinion. Um okay, so you say on your website that Kaizo Slumber seeks to capture the spirit of old internet and video game culture. What have you done to do so, and how has internet and gaming culture influenced your work?
I think more and more it's that influence is just sort of more in the abstract. I sort of mentioned initially it was like I really wanted to recapture the sort of '90s rave sound, and now it's sort of getting to the point where it's more of an aesthetic idea rather than anything specific in sound. So it's just having like that sort of dreamy, kind of nostalgic sheen on things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think it's because like when I first started creating things, that was like the main, was like video gamey stuff, and it was like when I started making music, it was chiptune. Like I grew up like playing a bunch of like Nintendo games, and
Mm-hmm.
that was like the main artistic vector I based it off of. And I don't know, as I'm like getting older, and I genuinely don't play video games anymore. Like so it's more in the abstract. It's like Kaizo Slumber like removed from itself multiple times. So it's just so it's that's why like a lot of my stuff now sort of has a more like net art sort of look. I'm a lot more inspired by like demo scene because I'm a software developer by trade, or at least trying to be. So that's
Mm-hmm.
taken more of an influence in my music. Um, but yeah, that's really just the crux of it. It's more of an aesthetic idea and then like a concept rather than any kind of specific thing with like games or like internet culture.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I can definitely hear in your music like aesthetics that remind me of that era, and certain like works from Nintendo, especially. Um, More so in your older stuff than your newer stuff, I would say. And by older, I mean like Kaizo Manifesto era. Um,
Yeah, even the Kaiser, basically the entire idea was, especially when I was doing like vaporwave stuff. Um, like I initially had a bunch of my like the Ace Santina discography on like Spotify and streaming and stuff, and then it had to be taken down because copyright rules got me.
mm, yeah.
So there was a real novelty in being able to use like the synths that were used in Super Mario 64 in my music because those aren't owned by Nintendo. Those are from like sound banks and like
Mm-hmm.
CD samples that are completely publicly available. So that was my way of like walking behind the line and like basically cheering at Nintendo. Like, fuck you, you can't copyright me. I'm well within my rights.
Yeah.
And
Which is always great.
that novelty sort of worn off now, but it was fun, and I can do it, and I implore everyone else to do it. We need to start just like poking at copyright law.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Um, so moving on. You posted about a year ago that you were performing a live gig. So and I saw the videos of it. I'm wondering what was your experience performing live like? How did you fight the nerves? What was it like beforehand and afterwards? Yeah, what's your experience performing live like?
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. So astrophysics, who we were both on no agreements, and we sort of became good friends online. We had met for the first time at that gig. Beforehand, I was like, I sort of hired a live drummer, Jono, and Jono was like a drummer in the sort of in the northeast of the UK where I was going to uni, and we just like practiced a bunch. We had like a track list ready, so it was very surreal experience for me. It was like even more for him because he's in some bands in his like in his hometown, and he does like sort of like post punk stuff. So it's very like out of left field for him. Um, I didn't really have the nerves that much. Definitely, like right before we started, you just get nerves no matter what, no matter how experienced of a performer you are.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've done live musical performances like throughout my life. I did like music throughout middle and high school, so that wasn't a particularly an issue for me. As long as we did the sound test and everything was working fine, we just did it. And it's a lot of it is the reception from the audience. The audience were really into it, so I was really into it. Uh, I don't think it would have turned out as well if everyone was just kind of standing still with their arms crossed.
Yeah.
So it's about what people can give back to you. It's the energy, like feeding off of each other and stuff like that. Uh, but yeah, that was really sick. I mean, I wanted to do more like stage banter, like talk with the audience in between tracks. I was like, nah, let's just play the next track. Yeah, this is the next song. Play it, and then that's it.
Hmm. Yeah,
Keep the momentum going.
that's fair. Yeah, I can see why in that setting you'd want to just keep the energy high at all times. Um,
Yeah,
I'd love to see you do more live performances. I mean, hey, I'd love to catch one day. That'd be cool.
yeah. If I can, I mean, at the moment, I'm back in Libya,
Yeah.
so there's not many live performances I can do here. I don't think anyone here really fucks with my music. I remember the first like message I'd ever gotten from a Libyan about my music was like it basically was to the tune of, "Hey, oh, you're from Libya. That's cool. Your music is terrible," and then that's it.
Wow.
It was like
Unreal.
straight up some dark shit. But I mean, that's Libyans for you. We're just kind of cynical and blunt. That's just how we are.
All right, then. I'll take your word for it. So you mentioned them. I was going to ask you, up until this year, Kaizo Slumber consisted of yourself and drummer Jono. How did you meet each other, and what was or is your relationship like?
Yeah, I mean, I basically had like a call out on Instagram, like, are there any drummers in the northeast of the UK? He like messaged me back with like a demo of him playing, and then we just sort of met up, and then we just started practicing. I mean, we're still cool. We're still like we're still in contact, still good friends, but because I had to move, so he couldn't be like live drummer anymore.
Hmm.
But he's sort of became, especially like the past year or so, he became busy with his own projects, which are pretty cool. He's in multiple different bands. So if you want to check those out, please do. But yeah, I mean, it was just sort of unceremonial, like unceremonial. Just I had to go home, and that was that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, so, um, just a clarification. Were they strictly a drummer for live performances, or did they record drums for any of your projects?
No, he was pretty much a live drummer. I mean,
Okay.
he did get like previews of like upcoming tracks and gave some feedback, but that was about it on the production end.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I got a couple more questions for you, and then I'll let you go. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
so fun question I like to ask people: dead or alive, what would your dream collaboration with another artist be?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know. There's just so many people I could choose from. Um,
You can name a list. You don't have to stick to just one.
Okay. I'll do a quick list. Wesley Willis, rest in peace. I feel like he'd be just like a really fun guy to collaborate with. Good energy, and I take sort of personal inspiration from Wesley Willis in terms of vocals. He just spoke his heart. He just shouted out loud, and then that was it. That's all you need to do. Um, who else? Uh, Danny Brown.
Mm.
Um, I was back in like I think it was like 2022. Like Danny Brown did like he did like a call out thing on Twitter where he's looking for like drum and bass producers, and I sent in New Slumber, and he like I went into his he followed me back on Twitter. I went into his DMs like, do you want to like record something? He's like, hell yeah. I sent him a little like beat, and then he never got back to me,
Oh
which is,
man.
feels bad, but it's understandable. Like albums get scrapped, things happen.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, Danny Brown,
That could have sounded great though.
Jitty, my favorite rapper of all time. Um,
What was it? Sorry,
I
can you
don't
say that
know,
again?
like Danny Brown.
Oh, sorry. Was that who you're saying your favorite rapper was?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you said someone else. Yeah,
No,
Danny Brown over your production could definitely be crazy.
absolutely. And I don't know. This isn't like a specific person, but like a sort of like genre of band I would collaborate with. It's like a beatdown band, like a proper
Hmm.
like tough guy hardcore band. I think the combination. I think it's the sort of combination I was trying to do with like Tummy Ache is like sort of new metally metalcore plus digital hardcore, which is a very very difficult combination. I think that's why I also don't like it is the fact that I was trying to combine a fast style with a style that likes breakdowns. There's a sort of dissonance there that might work, but you have to try really hard to fix. But I like breakdowns. I want to work with a band that does breakdowns proper. I mean, I did that with From Joy on Tummy Ache, and that came
Yeah.
out sick. I want to do more things like that, but like with a proper like not just like metalcore, but like just like dumb, stupid like slam or beat down.
Hmm. Yeah, I hear you. That could be cool for sure. Um, yeah, that one track with From Joy was definitely a highlight off the record for me. Um, all right, so my final question I have written down is the question I like to end off the pretty much every show with is what do you hope to get out of your music career? Is there an end goal that you hope to achieve?
I don't know, just make bangers, and
Hmm.
that's it. I think it'd be cool if I could like make a living doing music. That'd be fantastic. But as it is now, I think I just enjoy making music and then having people listen to it and tell me it's good. Let me know that they enjoy it and that it's not just falling on deaf ears.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's really it.
Yeah, that's respectable. And yeah, I definitely think I mean, hey, if that's your goal, you're definitely succeeding. You are absolutely producing some bangers. So,
Oh yeah, very much.
um, so yeah, again, that does it all for my questions. If there's anything else you want to say to the audience, any of the listeners, if there's anything you want to cover that we didn't, or if you just have anything you want to say, go for it. Say it now.
Uh, I didn't really have anything in mind.
That's okay too.
Stay in school.
I agree. That is a good message. I wholeheartedly agree.
Get that degree.
Hmm. So, to you all out there, the audience, the listeners, please go check out Kaizo Slumber. All their links are in the description. Their Spotify, their Apple, their website, the Twitter. Go follow them and go listen to them. Go enjoy their awesome music. And because again, as I keep saying, that is the goal of this show. The goal of this show is to introduce you guys to some artists that you may have not heard of before and give you guys a chance to learn about them and digest their music. So please go do so. Links are in the description, and of course also follow the show. And I guess that's all from us. I think we're ready to wrap things up.
All right, well, thank you for having me. This was really fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And that'll be all from us. Thank you for watching or listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.